Happy Friday, everybody. Very excited to be back with you again for another one of our weekly live streams. I'm going to give folks a couple of minutes to file in here, but I see we have some people joining us already. Where are you tuning in from? I would love to know. Write in the comments. A big part of these webinars or these live streams, by the way, is that I do answer every single question you send in. I'll answer it live, whether that is about the products that I'll be covering in this live stream, whether that is just general questions you have about Motion.io. Send your questions my way, whether you're tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. I will see those. I will respond to them in real time. So I'd love it if you kick things off by telling me where you're tuning in from. I am joining you here today from my home in Denver, Colorado. Typically on Fridays, I work from the office. I'm usually in the office like 4, if not 5 days a week now. Today, though, switching it up a little bit, working from home. Our office is right down the road from me in Louisville, Colorado, which is like kind of halfway between Denver and Boulder. We had some fun stuff that I'll be covering here today, going over the things that we released this last week, but also going to be highlighting some of the things that we released the week before. And I'll get into all of that in just a second. But yeah, I do thank you all so much for tuning in to this live stream. Again, as a reminder, we do these every single Friday, 10:30 Mountain Time, 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 if you're on the East Coast. So thanks for hanging out and spending your Friday morning, mid-morning with me. Really means a lot. So excited to dive in here. So let's go ahead, and the way that I like to kick these live streams off when we're talking about product updates is just showing you our Motion.io changelog to get an idea of what I'm going to be covering today. I see we have Tanya writing in from Utah. Hey, Tanya, good to see you. I believe this is Tanya Flynn from Cedar Fort, right out there in Utah. Last time I was in Utah was, when was that? Oh gosh, it was before I married my wife, so it would have been, 2019? I think I did a big snowboard trip out to Utah. Had a blast out there. Ski here or snowboard here a lot, but that was my first time ever going to Utah. We went to canyons and Park City. Super fun. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the Motion.io changelog so you have an idea of what I will be covering today. Oh, we have a comment from Louise. Oh my gosh, this is funny. What is your hair care routine? Well, I will tell you, I did go for a run this morning, so I just got out of the shower here. My hair care routine, though, is virtually nothing. I wash my hair maybe once or twice a week. Maybe that's the trick. Well, use like soap. I wash it when I'm in the shower, but using like full shampoo, conditioner, only like twice a week. So other than that, I just got lucky in the gene pool. 2 of my brothers are balding already. 2 of us have full heads of hair. So I don't know what happened there. Also, Bob, thanks for joining us from Port St. Lucie, Florida. Really excited to have you with us here today. So let's go ahead and get into things here. I'm going to pop into the Motion.io changelog. If you have not seen this page before, definitely encourage you check it out. It's a really great place to go and understand the features that we have shipped over the last week. Sorry, fiddling with my screen a little bit here. Whoops. I can never find the exact view that I want. There we go. This is the one that I like. So this is on this page, you can get a sort of week-to-week overview of the things that we shipped the last week. So I'm going to take a look down here at the week of September 24th. So this was our Wednesday release. Some fun new things in here. They're going to seem maybe a little bit smaller than our release last week on the surface, but really powerful stuff here, especially for smarter, more efficient client communication and collaboration. So let's get into it. The biggest feature I will say in this release is team assignments in Message Center messages. So this gives you the ability to assign, unassign, reassign team members to a specific message. Before this feature and our message center as a whole, it worked well. But one of the things that we noticed actually of using the message center internally is that it would be really nice to divide things out and make it very clear who was responsible to what. This is a really nice upgrade. Right along with that, we have the addition of 2 new tabs in the message center, assigned to me and sent. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, as well as portal login confirmation emails. And this was something that was pretty heavily requested from a couple of users of ours. So we appreciate those feature recommendations coming in. Basically, we identified this problem that people were having where they wanted to know the moment clients had logged into their portal for the first time. We didn't have that functionality. You could check whether they received emails or not in the Motion.io client directory, our CRM tool, but you couldn't see like the specific moment that they actually took that first action. So we've made that possible now. I'm also going to double click towards the end of this live stream, unless we have like a ton of other questions coming in. I'm going to double click on time tracking, which we released last week. Also just put out a video for this, but I do just want to cover that quickly so you can see that in action. Maybe you've been using it, have a couple of questions about it. We'll be happy to answer those as we go through things here today. Also, private and public comments I want to double click on because this is something that's really, really cool in Motion.io, but I don't know if you can really see the value until it's very clear specifically how it works, maybe getting the context in a real life task. So I've set up some examples ahead of this live stream that I'm going to go ahead and show you. So let's go ahead and kick things off. And I'm going to dive into one of my Motion.io accounts. If you have questions, if there's things you would like me to cover first, just let me know. Happy to change course, pivot as we go. But first, let's kick things off by talking about some of the new releases this week. And the first thing we will start with are team assignments in the Motion.io message center. And apologies, just sipping my coffee here. Got to keep the energy up on this Friday. So, okay, let's go into my account here. I'll pop this up on the screen for y'all. So in Motion.io, if you're not familiar with it, there is this tab over here on the left-hand side of your account titled Messages. And this is the Motion.io message center. All of the messages clients send through their portals, all of the comments they leave on tasks, as well if they respond to a notification email from Motion.io, all of that communication will appear in the message center. And from the message center, you can quickly respond to the various things. If it was a task that a client commented on, or it was a team member who comments on it on, you're able to open that task directly in the frame to get some quick context on what this task is commenting about. One thing you'll notice in my account is I have a couple of AI clients I added to test projects, and those messages and comment responses appear here as well. For things like this, I'll typically just go ahead and delete these. But if you are familiar with the message center, one of the new additions that you're going to notice here is that you now have the ability to select a message and then assign it to one of your team members, which makes it really clear who is responsible for what. To accommodate and to account for this ability to assign team members, we now have this really handy Assigned to Me tab. So let's say, I'm going to go through some of these older messages I have in my account, and I'm just going to assign a couple of these to myself. When I do that, what you will see is I go into this tab and I can very quickly understand, oh, these are the things that are assigned to me. These are the things that I need to respond to. And now when you reply to things, and I'll just type a quick fake message in here. Now, when you also reply to things, what we will see here, let me just do a quick refresh, is you will also see those conversations in the Sent tab. So you know very clearly of, hey, what do I have to respond to? What did I already assign to? Did I respond to? And if I am somebody on my team who's responsible for delegating this type of work, I could also go ahead and assign tasks out to my various team members. One cool thing about this that's important to note is this is now within Motion.io. We have made your conversations that appear in the message center. They operate on a team member by team member basis. So myself logging into the message center here is going to look different then if one of my teammates, the two teammates I have on this account are Sarah Smith and Jenny Jacobs, their message center view would look different from mine. It isn't just a universal sort of completely shared thing unless you're on the all tab here. So with that, this is a pretty cool update for us. I think it just adds a lot more utility to the message center. Another cool thing to point out within these improvements, you may have noticed that this was this comment that Jenny from my team left. This was a team only comment. And those types of messages will appear here as well. So if you and a team member are collaborating on something and your team member sends a private message to you, you'll be able to respond to that in the task. And because this was a private message that Jenny sent me, I can quickly toggle this visible to client icon, change it to team only, and just respond to Jenny and say, great. What you see here, the ability to create team only and toggle between team only and client facing comments. This was added in our release last week. It was what I was referring to with public private comments. Big new addition for us. And because we're in here already, I want to show you what this communication actually looks like within a task. So I will open this task directly from the message center. And I'll see that we have this internal team task where we were designing a website wireframe for the client. So at a certain point when Jenny completed the services page and the about page, she left me a team only comment that said, hey, this is all set. And when she did that, all of that communication goes over to the message center as well. So as a team member within Motion.io, you really have this centralized location in your account now for not just responding to client messages, but also collaborating with your team. And the great part about it, I think what is the best, most beautiful thing about the way that we've developed this is that now you don't have to be looking in your email inbox for action items and messages and things you need to respond to about the work you're doing for clients. You can know that all of that communication stays centralized in Motion.io. You can go about your work, your day, fully through Motion.io and the collaboration tools here. And I saw we had a couple comments come in from Tanya. Love being able to assign the chats to team members. My team is super excited about this. Love to hear it. Love to hear that this is going to provide you value. That's a big goal. And then Tanya also had a follow-up that she loves the team-only chats. Yeah, it's a really cool addition for us. Really excited to be offering it. And just as a quick reminder too, as with the way that the private public comments, what Tanya also called team-only chat, we call it that sometimes too internally. The way that you leave a private message is all you got to do, go into a task, toggle off visible to client. We make it really easy for you to understand, hey, will the client see this or not? And then you can leave that message for them. So that does it for the first big feature that we released this week. If anybody has any questions about that, the way that these things work, please let me know. Please write in. Happy to circle back, double click on anything you might want to know about that. For the next feature I want to talk about are going to be portal login confirmation emails. And this isn't something I'm able to super easily show live on stream. So I just want to talk a little bit about it. Basically, what is going to happen now whenever you invite a client to a project? So, for example, let me just create a new project from one of my templates here. Show you how to do this quick. Just create an example project here for us to work from. Use my marketing services template. Won't do anything here. Click create. What's going to happen is that when you invite a client to their portal, just invite one of my clients here. When Jim Jonathan goes to his portal for the first time, what's going to happen is he is going to, you're going to receive the project owner. So in this case, I set that to me. Project owner will receive a notification email that says, hey, this client just accessed their portal for the first time. And you can see that he's been invited. And let me actually just see quickly. I might be able to replicate this here quickly. I might be able to just access this as Jim to potentially show you what these emails would look like. I'll go ahead and pop up Jim's portal just in a separate tab here quick. Okay. And I think I can pull an example of this here. If you just give me a second to get into my other email here. Because I think it would be cool for you to be able to see this. No, it's delaying for me. So, but either way, the way that this works is you're going to receive an email when clients access their portal for the first time. If you are the owner of the project you invited them to. So in this example, I invited Jim Jonathan here to this example project. And when he comes in and accesses his portal, I'll get an email about that as the project owner. For now, this is just project owners who receive the first login email. But if you need to change the project owner, you can easily do so by coming here into your users tab. As well, we're open to expanding this to be more inclusive of your various team members in the future. But right now, it is just going to be your project owners that get these emails. Got a couple of additional comments that come in. We have a comment from Tiffany. I missed the beginning. Does this mean when a client leaves a message that all team users in the project get an email alert and then the person who I assign the message to? So I believe you are referring, Tiffany, and please let me know if this is incorrect. I believe you're referring to the portal login confirmation emails. The way that those work is the project owner is going to receive an email when the client you invite accesses their portal for the first time. And it's just going to be the project owner. It's not all team members. So the person in your account, just to quickly show you this here. So the person on your project that you see with the owner role here, that's going to be who receives that notification email. But great question. Thanks for following up on that. And let me know if there's anything else you need to know. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about, and I see that some additional clarification from Tiffany. I'm referring to any messages that the clients leave in their project that are also under the messages tab. Great, perfect. Thank you for that clarification. Super helpful. So yes, with the message center here, Tiffany, and I'll go back into my account so we can show you this. With the message center, the way that it works, if you're new to this, is basically if there are projects that I am a member of and a client sends either a chat message or they comment on a task, all team members that are a member of those projects will get a message that appears here in their message center. So for example, let's say, I am the only one here on this example project. If Jim Jonathan here, who you just saw me invited, if he would comment on a task or leave a message, it would be just me who got a message in my message center. That said, if I added my other two team members I have on this account, which are Jenny Jacob and Sarah Smith here, if I added them to that project, they would also get a message about that project. But long story short, if you're not a member of a project, you're not going to receive anything about that in your message center. And that's very deliberate to keep client communication channels clean, to make sure only the people that need to be involved are involved. Of course, if you wanted all of your team members to get all of the same notifications, we have a way to do that. It's really just as simple as inviting all of your team members to all projects. You can do that one by one by clicking into individual projects, or you can do that using a bulk action here from your project's dashboard. which is a handy function that we added a couple months back. So hopefully that answers your question, but please, happy to circle back on any of that if you would like some additional clarification there. So next up on our list here, we're going to be talking about time tracking. This is something we released last week, but I wanted to circle back on it just because it is so new and it's a really big feature for us. I mean, time tracking for some, we were kind of joking amongst the team. Time tracking for some businesses is like their entire product. There are entire companies out there that time tracking is all they do. For us, it's a feature, but it's a really big feature. So I think it's helpful to just explain some of the ways that it works, some of the things that you can do with it if you haven't gotten a chance to use it. First, I want to circle back on another question from Tiffany. Thanks for all the questions, y'all. Keep them coming, please. I love to be interrupted. I love to answer your questions because the way that I see it, that's how I can give you the most possible value out of these live streams. So keep them coming. Tiffany wrote in, okay, great. And then once I assign the message to the team member, they would get another alert. So they're not going to get another alert necessarily, Tiffany, but when you do assign them, they'll be able to see that communication within their message center just by going to the Assign to Me tab. So for example, let's say these two conversations were assigned to me by one of my other team members. I can know all the time, or I can know just by going into the Assign to Me tab what I need to follow up with. We also have some handy options within the message center, the ability to toggle on a follow-up flag. So you can remove this. The way that you would want to use the follow-up flag is like, hey, to signify to yourself there's something I need to reply to. And we also include this icon that allows you to know if somebody else in your team has replied to a message. And the way that I would clear this after I responded is I could just go ahead and click archive. And that would clear my message center inbox until any new assigned conversations came in. And that's great. Thank you. Thanks for all that clarification. I'm glad that I could help there. So what we want to talk about next here is I'm going to circle back on our brand new time tracking feature. I was mentioning just before, this is a really big feature. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with it. And most importantly, I think it's helpful to call out. I know we don't share like a public roadmap, but there are times that I think it's really helpful to give you insight of like why we built time tracking now and what we plan to do with it. So the whole reason why we built time tracking first is we have two big features that we want to do: invoicing and time tracking. Time tracking is what we needed to build first to really lay the foundation for invoicing. Because after discussing it internally, what we realized is that, hey, if we just launch invoicing, it's probably not as helpful as it would be if you could also connect it to the amounts that you need to bill your clients. Because when you can do those things in tandem, tracking time and then invoicing clients for the work that you've done, if you bill on hourly rates, it makes those two features really powerful together. So that's why we built time tracking first. But then I will let you know right now, we are already scoping out invoicing, and it's a high priority for us within the next quarter here. Really excited to get to that. But in the meantime, time tracking provides a ton of value. Excited to show you around here in case you weren't on the stream last week and show you how it works. So I'm going to go in here. And I just put out a video actually late last night on time tracking and the way that it works. I will go ahead and link that here for everybody in the chat if you want to take a look at that video. That said, I'm also going to walk you through the basics of time tracking here today. Let me just pop this link here into the chat. Sorry if you heard my background audio. So the way that time tracking works in general in Motion.io is that after you've set it up, and I will explain some of the setup for time tracking here in a little bit, but after it's set up, any task that you or your team goes to complete, what you'll see is a little clock icon here with some time next to it. And when you click this icon, this little clock here, you can then enter time for a specific task. So it all operates directly in the task, directly in the Motion.io workspace you and your team are already familiar with. And tracking time is as simple as selecting a date, entering hours and minutes, and selecting a billing category. And these billing categories you see here are all set up by me. And so they can be configured however you'd like. But this is what's actually going to calculate the billing rate. We also have an optional description section that you can add additional details, you or your team, about the work that they've done. But before you're able to use this, now that you understand generally how team members can track time on tasks, the way that you will set up time tracking is first you'll go to the settings page of your account, then into the time tracking tab here, and just add your time categories. When you change the toggle down here from non-billable to billable, you're asked to set an hourly rate. And this hourly rate is what is going to determine the total amount that is billable for the task that your team member completed, because it's going to calculate, hey, how long did this take? What's the hourly rate? And it will do that for every single task where time is logged. As you're up and running in Motion.io, managers and administrators of your account also have access to this really nice time tracking reporting dashboard. And this is a page that is super useful because it will show you an overview and a breakdown of all of the billable hours, the non-billable hours, the total amount within the time period you selected. And you can expand this to be a custom range. You can do just this week. You could even go back to last month, even beyond that. So this is really useful. You can also export reports here. One note about the reports you'll see directly under the breakdown is any report or any project where time was tracked on within the period that you've selected is going to appear here. So for example, I have September 1st through September 30th selected. All of the projects where at least one task had logged time for are going to appear here. And if you don't see something on this list, it means that nothing was logged for that project within the time window you have selected. Another thing to call out is that in addition to having the ability to export reports, you can also get a really crystal clear breakdown within the reporting tab just by opening the tasks your team member had completed. And the way that you do that is you click the plus icon next to somebody's name, and it'll show you a very clear breakdown of the tasks that they logged time for within that project. And I see here, a couple examples. In this Tate's Tater Tots project, I spent 4 hours on designing ad creative. My teammate, Jenny here, spent 5 hours and 50 minutes on designing some ad creative concepts. And that billable rate is automatically calculated. Something else that's helpful to point out is we do have a non-billable category. And this can be especially useful if you're looking into things like resource allocation and just trying to get a general sense of how long individual tasks are taking people. Because when they log non-billable time, you're able to get a breakdown of that and of the tasks that they completed. So this can provide some really powerful and important updates for you and for your business as you scale up. I know that that's a question I had got in support a couple of times is, hey, why would I want to use the non-billable category? And the long story short is either you have things that you just want to be able to track, understand how long they are taking your team members, even though you maybe don't bill hourly. Maybe you bill on a project basis, meaning, hey, project starts, project ends, this is the total amount, this is how much is included. There's no variable cost of like an hourly billable rate. One thing that's cool to point out about this is that there's also ways to accommodate for some of Motion.io's other features when taking in time tracking into account. So for example, the client request forms you might add to your portals, it can be really helpful to track time on if you're doing additional work for someone. And this is a really great way that sort of exemplifies the direction we're taking Motion.io and the value that we want to be able to provide and make it easy for you to provide that same value to your clients. So I'm going to pop into, which project was it? I think it was this. Looking for, here it is. Here's the project I wanted. I've created so many of these sample projects that sometimes I lose which one was like, oh, it was like the good one that I wanted to show today. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pop into the client's view of their portal. And what I've done within this project is I have this form that after a project wraps up, clients can submit to request additional marketing services from us. So in this case, let's say Larry Smith here wanted to request some, let's say he wanted a new landing page. Design a new landing page promoting our new location. Not going to attach any files here, but I'm just going to go ahead and submit this. So this form, which I've embedded into a portal, if you haven't seen this before, really cool new piece of functionality that we added in the last couple of weeks. But basically what happens is when a client submits this form, a task automatically gets created for myself and my team to be able to complete that request for them. So what does this look like and how does this even relate to time tracking? Well, let me show you. So I'm back here in my Larry's Laundry project, and you can see there's this task that was created for me called landing page design, with the details that Larry here added in the original submission. Okay, so great. Let's say that first of all, I wanted to quickly respond to another team member or loop them in. So I'll say, hey, Jenny, can you help? And you'll notice that I'm leaving a team-only comment. And I'm also going to go ahead. Jenny's already on the project, so I know she'll be able to see that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually assign Jenny to this task in addition to myself. So this is really showing you the sort of the full suite of functionality we've released in a couple of weeks. I thought this would be a cool example to show you all of just how powerful this is becoming. So, okay, great. So let's say that, Jenny was able to help. We worked on it together. What I can do now is I'm going to go ahead and make sure, first of all, that I have a new category for time tracking set up to account for landing page design. And I remember from the form I set up that my billing rate for this was $175 an hour. So I'm going to save that. And let's go back here into the task. Whoops, sorry, wrong project. And I'm going to then track time for this. So I'll add my entry. Let's say this took us, 5 hours, 15 minutes. We completed it today. Sweet. I'll select my new landing page design category and click save. Our goal with Motion.io in the future is that when you do something like this, so for example, client request comes in, your team completes it, you're able to collaborate effectively. And then when you go to track time on that, automatically invoice the client. And that's a great sort of visualization of what it's going to look like in just a couple of weeks when we release our native payment and invoicing. So that really does it for time tracking. I see we have a question here from Greg. So let me just pop this up here on the screen. Love the additions lately. Great job. Can you set the max number of hours available per project or per section / task that is available to bill against? Greg, not at the moment. That's something that we actually had not to my memory has not come up yet. That is a really interesting idea. Is the idea that basically you want to sort of give clients an allotment of hours, or maybe they can buy those like in a package and they'll know, hey, this is how many of your hours are used up. I think that could be something pretty cool and interesting for us to talk about here as a team, of like having that be some sort of other project tracker where the client could see how many hours that they've used within their current period. Gotcha. Oh yeah. So if a client purchases a batch of hours, that's a really cool idea. I'm gonna log that for our team. I'm curious too if there's anybody else in the chat here that bills in a similar way. I would love for you to chime in if like you allow clients to purchase sort of a bundle of hours for support. That would be super interesting for me to know. Yeah, because I'm thinking it's like, oh, hey, maybe that might be something kind of cool that we can do with our time tracker of like, hey, it kind of fills up the more hours you've used. The client knows how many hours in that period, and maybe it resets the next month. Really, really cool idea. And Greg included some additional clarification, or to limit the number of hours a consultant performing the work can bill against so they can't cheat. Yeah, that would be another reason why. And I think it, might make sense to be able to achieve both. Very cool. One note too about this is you do have the ability as an admin in Motion.io. This was a question we got last week that I think is worth circling back on. As a account administrator, as well as a manager, you can actually go into the reporting tab here at any time and adjust the time tracking numbers people submit. So for example, if somebody just submits something ridiculous. So for example, let's say, hey, Sam, there's no reason these new ad creative concepts should have taken you 4 hours. It was just one thing you needed to do. As an admin, you can always go in and edit your team members' entries on this reporting tab here. So something just helpful to point out there. So thanks everybody for some really great questions, some really, really interesting things to think about here. I would encourage you to, for our last 20 minutes here, send those questions my way. I'm always eager to answer them. Happy to go through anything else you might want to talk about here today. Whether you are a power user, you're ready to get into things like integrations and complex automations, or you're just getting started out with Motion.io. You want some of the basics. Let me know. Happy to handle any type of question you throw my way. And that's my guarantee. When you show up for one of these things, they will answer every single question that gets sent in. So I'm going to talk about a couple of other things we've released over the past couple weeks. It's interesting to me. It seems like I get such a mix of people from week to week where I never feel bad about going back over stuff because, I understand. I mean, I can't attend a webinar or a live stream every single week. And there's some that I miss and have to rewatch. But that's the benefit of joining live, is you get to ask live questions. But because of that, I do just want to go back, double click on a couple of other things we've released, some really nice improvements here. One of the big ones that might have flown under the radar is we've made a number of improvements to our proofing functionality in Motion.io. So what is proofing if you're new? Proofing is the ability to send clients files and have them leave feedback and approve the files that you send them. So this works really great for things like deliverable files or really anything that you might be creating for a client. And the way that you create proofing tasks is you just go into a project, click add task, and then the proofing button. And then all you got to do is just upload your files here into the window. In terms of the improvements that we've made to proofing tasks over the past week or two, one of the big things is we just cleaned up this entire interface. So it's much easier to see and for clients to know. There used to be like this ugly blue banner here. We removed that. And another thing is on individual, when clients go and leave feedback on individual images. So I'm just going to post a couple of fake comments here. So here's some examples of client feedback. I know it's coming from me. I just don't want to impersonate my other account. But what you'll see is to keep the interface clean until the client clicks, or when the client clicks a specific feedback point that was left, or you click feedback that a client left, you'll be able to get a highlight of exactly what that annotation they left was. The way that this operated before is you would see all of these little numbers. So it would be like 1, 2, 3 all over the page. And there wasn't really a great way to like toggle in and out of it, which made it kind of messy. So now you'll see on individual pages, it will only have the comments and annotations a client left. If you have multiple files in here, you'll just see it on a per file basis. So it'll just be, on this page, this about page, I can just see this one comment. I go to this, I go to this home page here. I can click into the comment and just see very clear layout of, hey, this was the feedback on this image, the first image, the second image, the third image, and so on and so forth. So, and then once again, it's back. I told you this feature was pretty powerful, but this ability then to have team-only comments within a proofing task is especially helpful, because then you can assign this type of work out and say, to your team members, hey, Jenny Jacobs, can you handle this feedback? And then on the next task, I'll put a comment that says, hey, can you handle, the feedback the client wants to implement on this other image? And then at the same time, all of these things are going to appear within your message center. So for example, let's say in the inverse, Jenny commented at me on a task. One of the cool things that you can do from the message center as well, if you aren't familiar with this functionality, is you can click this little button up here to create a new task from a message. So for example, client left feedback on an image. I can quickly create a task that is implement feedback. Add a checklist item if I wanted to. I don't have to. This will be a task to implement feedback on a homepage design. And you can also create tasks directly from your message center. So your individual projects and the messages that you're receiving, whether they are internal or external, all kind of operate in this closed system that gives you the ability to quickly see everything you need to do at once, or on the flip side, drill down into individual projects and collaborate that way. So kind of two different ways to manage your work. So to end things here today, I want to talk about the last feature on my list here that we released in the past couple of weeks, and that is going to be avatar customizations for clients. This might seem kind of silly at first if you're just tuning in of like, hey, why does this matter? I'll tell you, it was one that really surprised our team because of how much of a personalized feel it gave to our portals. And once we started talking through it, we all came to the consensus amongst our founding team here that, hey, the more that the client feels like the portal is theirs, the more it's customized to their project, the more engaged they're going to be and the more willing and ready they are to use that portal. So one of the cool things that we've added is the ability for clients to set up a custom avatar image. This was functionality that was there, but we didn't really educate the client on it or let them know that it even existed. So what you'll see now in Motion.io, and I'll go back to my screen share here, is I have this project that I invited Larry Smith here to. Larry's already set up his avatar image, or sorry, Jim Jonathan is the person I invited. Jim has already set up his avatar image, but let me just go ahead and I'm going to create a new client here quick. So I'll just do a fake client here. Let's just be called tester guy. Sorry, I ran out of creativity for my fake client names here today, I guess. So we have tester guy. You see that he just has the standard avatar with his initials there. Let me go ahead and I'm going to log into this client's portal and show you what this looks like now. So now the first time that clients visit their Motion.io portal, we prompt them with this banner on their homepage that allows them to very quickly complete their profile by either setting a picture, which they can upload from their computer, or they can pick an emoji, which can be pretty fun and an easy way if they don't feel like digging up that headshot that they got, that was taken 15 years ago and they don't even know how to find. So this is another really easy option. Is let's say tester guy, he wants to be the, I'm trying to think what animal my son's really into now. Oh, you know what? He loves bears. Here we go. So tester guy will be a bear. And you see that when I click that bear emoji, sweet, this is customized. We give you some nice little confetti, nice little touch. I honestly love the confetti. I think it's just a fun way to have it fly across the screen. But if your client does want to change their profile picture, maybe they want to say, this emoji is cheesy, I want to do my actual picture. They can do that at any point. And then on your end, it also serves a functional purpose for your team, believe it or not, because when you are within your view of a project, and I'm going to refresh this. Oh, sweet, there it is. It makes it really easy to understand who is responsible for what on a project, because you can clearly see icons. So let's say, for example, let me go ahead and add my tester guide to this task. I can see, oh, okay, cool. Both of these people are on that task. Also from your task page, this is a really great way to see this. For example, I'm just going to go for the most possible tasks I can show you here. And you'll see that going down the assignee list, the benefit of clients setting that emoji or setting their profile picture in general is that I can quickly understand, I see their avatar picture here. I get a quick reference on who this task is related to, which one of my clients or clients are on this task, and I can go in and complete it. So that does it for the features that we've released over the past couple of weeks here. Hope this was valuable for you all. If there are any last minute questions here, feel free to send them in while I wrap up. But otherwise, we're going to close up shop here just a little bit early, only about 10 minutes. As a reminder, all of these live streams are available. The recordings, you can watch them on our YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook pages. I typically recommend folks just go to our YouTube channel for that, though. I think that's probably the easiest way to see all of the live streams. We have a nice little playlist for them there. And then I also wanted to tell you all about another event that I am hosting next week. So next week, I'll be hosting an event with the CEO of actually a partner, but also a Motion.io client, Chris Martinez, who is the CEO and founder at Bloom, which is a company that helps agencies scale their business. And we're going to be hosting this webinar here, which is the Scalable Onboarding Playbook. So this one I'm super duper excited for. This is a more standard type of webinar, meaning you have to enter your name, your email address, and then you'll get a registration link. Not like our typical live streams where you can just show up, kind of pop in, pop out. You do have to register, but it is free. Throughout this webinar, I'm going to be sharing some really cool things that I learned of scaling onboarding when we were growing Brighter Vision, which was the last agency that I worked with. My now co-founder on. And yeah, really excited to provide this advice. Chris and I are going to be chopping it up, talking about the things that are most important as you scale up your business when it comes to onboarding and how to keep your client churn as low as possible. So talking about things, in addition to automating parts of your onboarding process, Also talking about the personal touch and just those smaller little things that you can do to build rapport, to get clients who are raving fans about you. So I'll pop this link here into the chat. Please feel free to go ahead and register. Would love to see it. That one, that's on Thursday of next week, but I'll also be back next Friday for our standard weekly live stream. With that, everybody, I don't see any more questions that have come in. So I'm going to sign off for the day, have a little bit of work to finish up, but I hope all of you have a great rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend. Take care. Thanks for tuning in, and best of luck to you and your business. Bye-bye.